What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to No Longer a Teenager, the podcast where we talk about our life experiences. My name is Stefano. This is my co-host, Elon. Say hi, Elon.
That's right. Hi. What's up, guys?
We're doing things a bit in reverse today, but it's because it's been a little while since we've been back.
It's because he is the captain now. He is the leader. Huh?
So our apologies for last week. I know we missed, I think we missed an episode.
Yeah, we missed an episode, but listen, it was for a good reason. It was a good thing that happened in life, and honestly, I find it's going to be something that will boost the podcast overall.
That's
I find
for sure.
it's something that's
for sure.
It's going to be a launch from here, really. So I'm really excited for that.
Before we get into it, I just want to say we really appreciate whoever's watching, whoever's listening, wherever you are. If you're downloading on YouTube, Spotify, anything, please share the podcast, give it a listen. Anything you can, it always helps. We love you guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We have a big topic today, actually.
Yeah.
I just want to get straight into it.
Today's going to be huge. There's a lot of things we have to go over.
Yeah.
Honestly, this one I'm even going to put like timestamps in the description. I think it's one of those where it deserves that.
Yeah, for sure.
If you guys want right now, click on the description if you're watching on YouTube, and you're going to see all the topics we're going to go over.
During and what time they're out in the video. So
this is going to be a big one. So let's just hop right into it.
Yeah, this is something that I struggle with personally, and I know a lot of people who do as well. And I feel like it's part of human nature just to, kind of have this problem because our lives are so based around schedules, right? So things work out. At this time, this I have to meet this person at that time, right? So it's all about time. And I feel like a lot of people, myself being the main example, we don't have a very good relationship with time. So a lot of times, and even the thing that I had to go through last week, it took a lot longer than I thought it would. The whole process of just getting everything rolling, and it's
right. And there's also learning curves, right? So, I mean, let's say even going from school to not being in school. A lot of people have personally told me, like, oh, if I wasn't in school, I don't know what I would do with my day.
Yeah, like I'd have trouble organizing my day.
Because they need somebody to tell them basically how their schedule would be. So when you're creating your own schedule, when you're working from home, when you're studying from home, any of these things that everybody's going through right now. This is why I find this a big topic.
Yeah, for sure. Quarantine. It's a quarantine topic. That's for sure.
Yeah, time management is huge.
A couple things that happen, like just an example. Basically, let's say you're going ahead with your day, right, and you plan everything in your day. A lot of big mistake that a lot of people make that I see and I catch myself doing a lot is you find yourself planning too much, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people recommend, plan 5 things for that day. Plan 5 things or maximum 6 things. That's the max. Don't start planning 10, 15 things because they're not going to get done. And the simple reason behind that is basically
you can't.
You can't.
You think we always underestimate how much time anything would take.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like people get lost in the whole thing. They say like, okay, I'm going to do these 10 things, and they get 5 done, right? Which is actually a big thing. Like you got 5 things done, but then in their head it's like, oh, I didn't do all 10. So,
no, and it takes time, right? Because we forget to count some stuff. Like, let's say I'm going to go to the gym for an hour, right? But then I also have to get to the gym. I have to get back. And all, like, there's a lot of things that you have to
have to take a phone call for 10 minutes and there's something that comes up, you have to go to the store.
You have to walk the dog, whatever it may be. And we tend to underestimate. That's just what happens naturally. So I can name a lot of big names that have personally created lists where they say maximum 5 big tasks, five achievements that you're going to do throughout that day. And if you do those 5 things, you win the day.
Yeah.
You don't need to do more. You don't need to do 10 or 20 because we feel like we need to rush somewhere. No, it doesn't work. You have to take it slow. It's a process. It's something that builds over time. You have to really you build a house brick by brick. Yeah, it's not all at once.
I feel like we also forget about living in the moment when we do that. Yeah. When we plan 10 things and then we're all upset when we only get 5 done, but it's like during those 5 things, did you give all those things your all? Did you go all into it? Did you give all the effort that you possibly could? And a lot of times I feel like that's something that's missing. And especially for a lot of people, like even myself, for example, whenever I know that I have a big day coming up, even if I plan it, I always keep that in the back of my head that there's always something that can come up and that I might not be able to do every single thing that I plan to do that day.
Yeah. No, it's important because when you're organizing your time, right? Personally, what I would even recommend, this is strategies on how to organize your day because I've been looking at, I'm somebody that's obsessed with productivity and I'm even working on a separate video about this where I actually ask people for their opinions on how to be more productive. So in terms of productivity, one of the best things that I personally do and that I've gotten people to recommend doing is time blocking. Now, the biggest person that recommends this, the biggest preacher of this, would be Elon Musk. He uses this to plan his days. And it's basically just you set a time where you're going to do certain things. So let's say from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., That's my morning routine. Okay, I'm gonna brush my teeth, shower, exercise, make breakfast, pack my lunch, everything. I'm gonna do it in between that time. Okay, doesn't matter what order, doesn't matter when.
As long as
it's just in that time.
Yeah, as long as it all
gets
done.
So when you're doing that, you're able to be a lot more efficient because you know that, okay, you know what? Right now isn't the time to go play video games. It's the time to do this. And you can just build on from there.
I feel like that works a lot better because a lot of people that I know are a lot, like, they're like freeform people, like, they kind of, like, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell me to do this at this time, but tell me to do it, and I'll put it into whichever time block I need to have it in.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I know I need to work out before 6 p.m. because my body just kind of, like, does a decline.
Yeah.
So as long as I can get a workout in between, like, after lunch and 6, I'm good. You know what I mean? But it, like, I'm somebody who, like, if you tell me that this needs to be done at this specific time, unless it's a real emergency, I wouldn't do it probably.
Yeah, because you have to fit it in, right? And you don't know when.
Yeah.
So there's time blocking. There's
people talk about, like, reminders, like the whole, like, set a reminder on your phone, things like that as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things you could do, but at the end of the time, at the end of the day, let's say, we all have the same amount of time. We can't change that for anybody, right? Hours. So exactly. So in those 24 hours, if you really want to achieve a lot, you have to find the best way to make that time productive, right? So there's all these distractions, right? You can you scroll on social media and all of a sudden you know everything that's going on in Kanye West's life. Like,
but like nothing that has to do with your life. So
exactly. It's just where is it leading you, right? And that's the thought that has to be going through your head. Whenever you're doing anything throughout the day, is this really worth it?
Yeah.
I mean, recently I've gone back into Warzone. Okay, I've been playing this game so much, and it's ruined everything else in my life. Not actually, but like it's getting there. Because it's just, I get home and like, I know I need to go record, I know I need to edit. And then you
just hop on PS4
and then I get like that one text that's like, yo, you on? Yeah, that's it.
You're stuck there till 1 a.m. after.
No, literally. Yo, even then, I had to be up at 6 the other day, and I get a text, yo, you want to play Warzone? Logically right away, no, I have work at 6. Or I need to be up at 6.
Yeah.
Okay, bro, good night. Actually, wait a minute. I could play for an hour. It's 2 something. It's 2 something in the morning. I'm like, I should probably sleep.
Yeah, no,
that's it. Yeah, it's just the next day.
That's something we all go through, and like a lot of times, like even I'll be at work and I'll be like on a call where they put me on hold for a second, and I just open Instagram. And I'm like, no, like I have to stop myself from like doing it because it's like you're sitting there, and I don't mean to say it this way, but it's like social media is. You know, we always talk about social media,
it's
right?
A trap.
We always talk about it. It's like you watch every podcast, we always talk about it. Yeah. But I mean it this time. Guys, I mean it. Like, you open social media and instantly you know everything about everything, or at least you think you do, right? But then it turns out that, like, you just wasted 45 minutes of your time. It's kind of like when you roll over, like, you hit snooze on your alarm, you roll over, it's 4 hours later. Like, that's what it is. It's a time trap. It really is.
Because no matter how often you're on it, you refresh, there's something new. And we've spoken about this in previous episodes. We're not going to get too
talk about it in every episode, I think.
But literally, my personal suggestion, we've said this over and over.
Comment below if you can count how many times we said social media.
Literally. Take a shot every time we say social media. No, don't actually.
That's good.
But what do you call it? Literally try this out. Take some time off social media. Start by build up to it. I'm not saying to just cold turkey like delete it.
Yeah.
Turn off notifications. Start with that.
Yeah.
Then
so at least when someone texts you, it doesn't alert you right away.
Then put screen time like block. Like limits. Mm-hmm. So after 30 minutes a day, it's off. Mm-hmm. Then build up to it, and when you're comfortable enough, delete it. Delete it for a month. Delete it for a week, whatever time, and then just build up to it.
When I deleted Instagram for about like 2 to 3 weeks, I got so much done I didn't even understand it anymore.
Honestly,
I was able to work, do the podcast, go to the gym. Honestly, I think I might delete it again. To be honest, it was like the best 2 weeks of my life.
Honestly, I only reinstalled it because I needed to.
I needed to text somebody.
I needed to talk to somebody too because I was going to work with their brand.
Yeah.
And that's why I reinstalled it. But aside from that, there was like I even now I reinstalled it. I don't use it much.
No, it's crazy.
Like I don't open any. I don't care about it. Like it's whatever.
Yeah.
So I try to avoid it.
It's crazy how like even with like Instagram's just one of them, but obviously it's pretty much every social media is like once you stop using it or like you delete it, I feel like it's crazy because not only do you save more time, but you're also way happier. At least that's what I noticed from my end. Like I was so much happier
100%.
when I didn't have to like. Or I guess I felt like I didn't have to go and see people's lives. Like, honestly, listen, there's people that I love in this world, and like, I don't hate anybody, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of times, like, I feel like we care too much about what other people are doing, and it distracts us from just focusing on what we have to do. That's very important.
Right, and I find that that's becoming a much bigger
the
thing.
more time it goes on,
where we start putting other people ahead of us, right? Yeah. It's becoming a normal. You only care if you do things for them, whatever it may be, right? And this is common in relationships. This is common in just
friend groups. Day-to-day
life. Yeah. If I don't drive a friend somewhere, they could get look.
Like it's it's ridiculous, guys. It's ridiculous.
What you have to do is put yourself first, right? You have to do this. At this point, it's the only option. And if you want to have a good life, the earlier you realize that you are the priority, you are the prize, you are the gift, the better it's going to be for life. That's not selfish.
It's not selfish. It's actually quite the opposite, to be honest.
No matter what people say, don't listen. Okay? What matters is that you have yourself organized properly, right? Because there's a lot of things that we just stop dealing with. There's a lot of things that cause future problems because people refuse to pay attention to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
and a big thing also is like a lot of people tell me like, my friend. Let's say my friend asked me to do something for them, right? Mm-hmm. And I did it, but I didn't have the time. And I've done this before. Like guys, people who know me, they know this is the number one thing that I've done. And they tell me like, oh, I didn't have the time, but I did it anyway. Yeah. So then I tell them, well, did you explain to your friend that you didn't have the time? Mm-hmm. And they tell me, yeah, but they didn't understand. My number one response is get better friends.
Honestly.
Like, listen, if your friends can't understand that you have things going on in your life, like I know for all the people that I surround myself with, like you included, it could be a big day that we need to do something important. And I say, look, I'm really sorry. This came up and I need to take care of it. They're going to, no matter what their opinion is, they're going to say, okay, man, go ahead, take care of it, and we'll see each other tomorrow.
Because at the end of the day, look, plans are plans. Plans could get moved around, whatever.
Plans change all the time.
But it's the fact that when you have something that you need to get done, you need to set it for yourself first, right? And there's things that sometimes we have to deal with, right? So this is going to get a little deep, so honestly, grab your popcorn, whatever you guys eat.
It's movie time.
Whenever you guys eat while listening to this or whatever you're doing.
Grab your Gatorade.
Turn the volume a little bit higher. And listen, a lot of the time in life, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have problems that arise. You're going to have hard times. You're going to have hardships. You're going to have whatever it may be. And it's going to affect you. It's really going to hit you. And if you don't deal with that properly, if you do what everybody says and have this toxic positivity, which you spoke about in the episode with Rob. Yeah. If you just say it's going to be okay and you don't deal with it,
you push the problem aside all the time.
You're going to be because for the longest time I had so many undealt with.
I was doing this up until last week, and you've noticed this, and people have told me I'm so much happier this week. Yeah. I was just pushing everything aside, everything. Yeah. Oh, let's forget about it. Like I'll deal with it later, and then it just came crashing down. All at one time.
And we spoke about this a lot where literally what I had to do is I took literally a full hour, left my phone in the living room here, went to my room, and no distractions, just me in pure darkness thinking about my entire life. Yeah. Why it is how it is, what has built up to it, why do I do the things I do, everything. And it made me realize, okay, you know what? Getting bullied in elementary affected my self-image until 18 years old.
Whatever happened with your parents, whatever they told you, whatever
everything, girlfriends, right? Everything. Whenever you have any trauma, you think of it and you start dealing with it properly. You start accepting it instead of avoiding it, and you start really realizing that we can take it forward from here. We can move on. This is part of me. This is my experience. This is what makes me me. This is what makes me unique.
That's who I am.
It's not a problem. It's not a bad thing. It's not something that makes me worse than anybody else. It's what makes me me. Right. And you need to be proud of that. You need to live with that. And you need to accept that. Right? Because when you start accepting, that's when you start moving forward.
I really like that you mentioned, by the way, amazing, but I really like that you mentioned the fact that, it's not a problem. Because I feel like it's funny, because toxic positivity is like we were talking about with Rob in the last episode, for those of you who were watching, was like, people say like, okay, toxic positivity is just avoiding it. It's not just that, it's avoiding it and calling your past experiences a problem. It's not a problem, it's a part of you, man. Take it and move on. Accept it. And like, up until last week, like I was talking about this with my cousin. I was telling my cousin, oh man, I feel like I've fallen short because experiences in my life have brought me down and changed me. He goes, man, he's like, people get brought down for 40 years. People are in their 50s and 60s.
No, that's the thing.
And they push things away all their life, and then it just came crashing down when they're 65 years old, and they,
I mean, think of it this way, right?
It's a lot worse.
If you have something that's undealt with, day to day, you're gonna feel upset. It's just a known fact. You're gonna feel a little bit worse, and you're gonna know that you're feeling bad, but you won't know why.
Yeah.
Because even if it happened years ago and you've pushed it off for years, why would it come back to your head? It just won't.
Yeah.
So you're there feeling like, why does this bother me so much? And then you realize that, you know what, it's because of something that happened however long ago it was, right?
You find the source of it, basically.
Yeah, and when you find the source, that's when progress starts being made. And the goal of life is to progress. You don't want to be there laying on your deathbed and think, wow, there's so many things I avoided. There's so many regrets.
Just being the same person that you were at some point in your life. It's like...
that's a whole different thing.
That's the worst thing.
That's a whole different thing. Like, you go to high school reunions, right? Like,
this is what we talked about this in the last podcast, I think, or the one before.
There's so many people that talk about this, right? Especially because we work with a lot of people that, are older than us. We're always like, we tend to be the youngest, in whatever field. But we talk to people who are like, oh, you went to the high school reunion. How was that?
I always ask that question. How was high school reunion? They tell me the same thing every time. No one's changed.
Yeah.
They're all the same people doing the same thing. They even look the same. That's the one that shocked me out. They look the same. They speak the same way. They talk the same. It's crazy.
And when we envision our life, like Stefanos and I, we do this a lot where we actually take the time to visualize how we're gonna look like, and
where
we're
gonna where
we're gonna be.
What do you look like? What does your family look like?
Literally, you know what? I don't know if you fully remember. I know that it impacted me quite a bit. You had a dream, right?
Yeah. I remember everything about that dream.
Where you saw where we lived, how our houses looked like, how we looked like.
It was crazy. Bro. I remembered it was so detailed to the point where, like, I remember, like, just the way, like, I was dressed, the way he was dressed, just the environment, the weather outside. It was like, one of those, it was almost like a lucid dream almost at that point. It was like to the point where, like, I remembered everything. And a big part of it in the dream was we were actually both, and everybody who was in it were just completely different than we are now. Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing that when my colleagues told me that they went to their high school reunion and everyone's exactly the same, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because looking back at myself 2 years from now, for those of you who know me and might laugh, and
2 years ago,
yeah, or 3 years ago, and I laugh about it all the time.
There's some great pictures.
Yeah, they were not my finest moment, but
if anybody sees it, bro, like, how do you go from like long hair to buzz cut? Like, it's just,
or like just look, just the things I used to say, like the stupidity, the sheer stupidity.
Well, that's the thing, and it's a process of growing up, right?
Yeah, but then you see other people and they're still there.
Yeah,
they're literally still that person. It's like
they're still reminiscing of like the high school moments,
crazy.
The high school.
It's like,
the fun high school
There's so many people who forgot, like not forgot, but it's behind us now.
Yeah,
it's behind us now.
Exactly, because it's kind of like it happened. We've accepted it.
Yeah.
We know that it's in our experiences, and we're gonna move forward.
It's kind of.
And then there's the people that are like, it happened, but it still happened.
Yeah. It's like when you run into somebody, let's say like that you've known from like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, and just off of the way that they approach you or you approach them, you can just instantly know right away, like where they're at mentally. Like it's actually kind of crazy. Like I ran into somebody from high school like a couple of days ago, and I saw them, and the way that I approached them was the way I would do it now, and the way they responded was like completely different. Like, we were both completely different people, and I really enjoyed that. But then there was somebody else after that yesterday who like, sent me something, and it was like they were speaking to me as if we were back in high school. It's like the same way they would speak to me. So it's like I know
a few people like that as well. Where I remember literally talking to somebody about this. I said that literally just talking to them, it brings me back to how it was.
But it's crazy because it brings you back to a moment. Like you remember, I remember exactly, in the moment.
I'm saying even
it was crazy.
Just the attitude, the way that we talk, everything. It's like it brings you to a different life.
Yeah, because it's crazy.
We acted a bit more childish. It's like it felt natural because that's how we used to be. But at the end of the day, I'm like, that's not how I am now. Like that's just not real. It's not actually me.
Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Or maybe like it was old you. You know what I mean? So it's like,
But that's the thing. There's like
it's
growth,
not you
right?
now, right? It's the
exactly.
Old you,
So it's like you know when there's certain things that let's say I wouldn't do anymore, or certain things that
things you wouldn't say, or just the way you would say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, bro, you changed." I mean, I hope.
I really hope. Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, when people tell me, like, wow, you're so different, I'm like, God bless, man. Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, I really hope
Listen, I think the most important thing and what we're trying to encourage from this is encouraging growth.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to your time management and everything, it's the number one thing that's going to help your growth. If you manage your time properly, if you make each hour the most effective hour of your life, you will live a great life,
and you will have no regrets.
It's that simple, right? So we're gonna bring it back to the topic of relationship with time.
Yeah.
So many people have that misconception of this is where I'm at. This is what I'm gonna do, or you know what? I'm 19, so what do 19-year-olds do?
Yeah, that's actually I'm so happy, dude. I'm so happy you brought this up. I've heard this so many times. Be like, let's say me or somebody I know. We're ready to take a crazy step into something, and I mean something it's not a crazy step in life, but it's a crazy step to do at this age, and I love doing that. People who know me, that's my favorite thing to do, is just do some crazy shit, you know. But it's like I'm about to do it, and then they hear about it, or they find out, and they're like, "You're 19, man. Just smoke some weed, go to class," and I'm like, "What do you mean smoke some weed, go to class?" I'm like, "Why are you getting all serious into this job shit, man? Why you gotta work?" 60 hours a week. That's so weird. That's so adult-like. It's like, yeah, dude, that's where we're going, bro. Like,
literally.
That's the direction we're going in, dude. Like, why are you going back?
They look at you. They're like,
they size you up.
Yeah, like, they're like,
yeah,
you're adulting.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, yeah.
How does that feel?
Yeah, they're like, they just look at it like it's like. As if they saw an alien,
It's like a foreign being to them. It's like
let me get this right. I bought my car when I was still
like 16, 17, yeah.
They look at me. They're like, so you got a car, and you have to pay for the car, yeah. Okay, and you have to pay for your gas, yeah, and you have to pay for your insurance, yes.
That's part of it.
So, and you just did that.
You just did that, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the plan, Yeah. I'm starting my driving lesson soon. We're living different lives.
No, I know.
It's like,
why are you trying to?
It's about realizing that just because we're the same age, we're not going to be at the same part of life.
Yeah, of course. That's a big thing for people.
That's the biggest misconception that I've ever heard. If you're 19 and you're in school, and I'm 19 and I'm not in school, it's natural that we're doing different things if I'm working and you're studying,
because you're different people. That's why it's
right. But it's also just we're in different situations.
Yeah, of course.
If I'm working full time, I'm getting money to do certain things.
And you're working a lot. Yeah.
If you're studying, you're putting time into your future, right? That's the goal here.
Yeah.
You want to graduate, get a degree,
and you most probably, hopefully, have something that you want to do with that degree or whatever.
Exactly.
Or whatever time you're putting in.
Yeah.
So it's like people who look at you and say, "Oh, I don't understand why you would be doing this at this age." It's like, why does the age matter?
Yeah. No, there's absolutely no judgment in both cases, right? Sure, it's just the fact of understanding that they're different cases.
Yeah. But they look at you like they're.
I never look at somebody that's in school, right? And I have my car or whatever, and I'm like, why don't you have your car, man? Like, why don't you buy yourself a car when you're not working? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
So I wouldn't ask it.
If you're in school,
if you're in school and you see that somebody else is working, isn't it just logical that they're moving forward in different aspects, in different
direction? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, why? There's a lot of people that like you'll run into that are either in either situation and will always judge the other person. I never understood that. It's like, why are you judging?
But I find a big thing is also being scared that you're not normal, right? Because I find the looks you get when you're doing something that's not traditional for your age.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a big thing that could be very scary, and it also is just a lack of knowledge at the same time, right? So like, let's say real estate investing, something I've been saying I want to do for a long time, but I only started looking into recently. Mm-hmm. So the more I look into it, the more I realize this is doable. You just need, like, you don't need much. You need the down payment, which is, it's still a good amount.
I mean, listen, if you're working full time and
but it's just the fact that it's achievable.
No,
right?
It's achievable.
So I don't have to wait till I'm 20 something to start. Mm-hmm. I can start as soon as I want to. You can save up depending on your situation or whatever. Mm-hmm. you save up for the down payment. You look for there's so many opportunities.
Look for a property that you like that is in your price range. You purchase it and then you do.
Yeah, and then you rent it out or whatever.
Or sell it, whatever.
So that's really what it is, right? And you're gonna get like people are gonna look at you weird. People are gonna act like you're doing something that is literally like some potheads could look at me and they'll look at me weirdly for doing something like.
Well, yeah, but big, that's the thing, and it's like it's not a big thing, but it's a big thing at your age.
Yeah.
And I understand. Listen, I understand why it's a big thing. It's because people, you're not supposed to have money at 19. Supposed to, right. Or you're not supposed to be doing something at 19 or whatever age. You know what I mean? But it's like people who get, let's say people who have people who have kids at our age.
Yeah.
Like that's a big step. That's a big thing.
That's a huge
but
thing.
We're all gonna do it at some point, most likely. But it's like it's just not right now, right? But the thing is, for those people who do have kids, I know like one of my a guy who used to cut my hair, no barber, like he had a kid very young, and he's amazing with his son. Like I have the utmost respect for that.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy at any age, but now at 20, 21, 22 or 19 even, it's way harder, obviously,
for sure,
financially too, right?
Because you have to keep up with it, and it knocks you off. It knocks you not off your course, let's say, but into a different course.
Yeah. But see that.
And
hold on, sorry. I really like that you said not off your course into a different course, because we're gonna get into something later, which has to do with basically people who can't accept the fact that you're getting older or can't accept that
that's
the natural course. But anyway, go on.
That's gonna be a bit later.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big topic.
It's gonna be a nice big part of it.
Yeah, you guys are gonna want to stick around, like, subscribe, share for that one. That's
honestly,
a big topic.
Guys, if you're still watching, I wanna personally say thank you because. I've been paying attention to the watch time. I'm a freak when it comes to analytics, and the podcast watch time is insane. Okay, you guys actually enjoy.
Thank you guys to every single one of you.
Amazing feedback. Hundreds of people watching, and all I can really say is you guys blew my mind. This is going great. I want to say thank you, and hopefully we're providing as much value as I'm hearing. I mean.
And that's why we've scrapped a couple episodes because they just weren't good enough.
Guys,
that's another big thing. We put a lot of time into it.
Yeah, there's some episodes where I look back at the edit and I remember this is a hard decision.
He called me.
I call him. I felt so bad. God. I call him. I'm like, yo, remember the podcast we recorded?
And I'm like, I'm really tired. I'm like, yeah. He's like, it was shit. We're scrapping it.
I'm like, I just deleted it. And he's like, you deleted it? I was like, it was terrible. Yeah. It was awful. Yeah, I watched the first 2 minutes. I wanted to click off.
I couldn't do it. Yeah.
So I literally maybe 10 minutes into the edit, and keep in mind this is over an hour's worth of footage. 10 minutes. And
don't forget, you're putting in the time to
right.
And everything, right?
Yeah. But 10 minutes into the edit, I'm like, this is gonna be terrible. I deleted it.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're gonna record a new one tonight.
Yeah.
We recorded one that night.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's probably one of my favorite podcasts.
Yeah, no, but listen, guys, I mean, we put a lot of time into it, and we just want to make sure that you guys are getting as much value of it, like you said, from we, right? Because the whole goal of this whole thing is just for us to progress together. We want to become better people. And we're back. Hello, everybody. Good to be back.
I guess we could just continue because it's going from you ended with talking about giving back to society.
But I wanted to snap in the camera, man. It's fucking cool. Okay, perfect. So basically, so what we were talking about before, basically people, they see you doing something that's not for your age, right? They get all I don't know, is it scared or do they get kind of thrown off maybe?
Look, there's a lot of norms, right? I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people try to tell themselves, you know what, I'm this age, so I need to fit in this criteria. I mean, look at net worths, right?
Yeah,
this guy's the expert. Yeah, I know.
How am I the expert?
Because, bro, you know net worths like you know the averages and everything. You look at it. So what was it for?
Just an
25
example.
to 30.
For the average net worth for a 25 to a 34-year-old, this is North America, was negative $34,000 around.
Right.
So basically, you don't even have money. You're just in debt. It could be student loan debt. It could be the brand new BMW that you bought. Whatever.
That's if they went to school. Mm-hmm. If not, minus the student loans.
It was minus $8,000, I believe.
Somewhere around
because maybe if it's not student loan, it's a personal loan or a car, right? So let's say if it's a car, you have $20,000 in your bank account, but you have a car that's worth 50, so you're still in debt, right? So
it's really after 35 that they break even. They start making money, and even then it's only around 7,000.
In certain regions as well, like it's also 40. 40 is like an age where people start to kind of have a little bit more money and they can kind of move more.
So with that in mind, when you're 19 and you're in debt or whatever, you're like, you know what, this is normal. That's something.
Yeah, that's the thought.
I think that banks have they killed it. They made it.
Oh, for sure.
They made this so great. They're like, you know what, being in debt is normal.
It's even cool,
Yeah.
Get your new sneakers, guys. $800. Go do it.
Literally, like the new phone came out. Go get it. Like,
go get it. Yeah.
It's just we've become so prone to making these rash decisions.
Mm-hmm. Just on impulse. Everything's on impulse. I mean, I've done it myself. So guys, don't think I'm.
No, for sure. We're definitely not exceptions.
I've done some really bad stuff.
We're saying we've dude, my credit was messed up for so long.
My credit just started being okay. Maybe a couple months ago.
Mine was really good, and then I'm like, you know what? I want this, that.
I'm gonna buy it. That's
and
it.
Then
if I want it, I'm gonna have it.
And then I'm like, yo, I have to pay this off, and there's interest. Like it's rough, right? But then I'm like, you know what? I did all my research about credit score. I found out what do I need to do to rebuild it? What do I need to do to? I want it to be over 800, which is a hard number to get to. So how do I get to the high 700s? How do I do this? How do I do that? And when I set these goals for myself, that's when I started really thinking about time. So if I go to buy something, I'll be like, you know what? This is cool. I want this item.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think about.
And sometimes you even need it, not just that you want it,
right. Yeah. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a few weeks. We're gonna see what do I need, and I'm gonna start saving up for it. Right. So I put money aside specifically for that. And then when I finally get it, it's great. I got what I needed. I got what I wanted. Whatever.
Yeah.
And it did not put a dent in my account. It did not make me feel like I lost anything. None of that. It was good. Right. So when people go get a car, for example.
That's the biggest. In my opinion, the car is the biggest thing that people. Car and clothing, in my opinion, is like the biggest thing that people spend money on. Not only at our age, but at every age.
Yeah.
Like sorry to cut you off, but even our boss was talking last week, and he was talking about how like the banks now, it doesn't make sense, and I mean it never did, but it's to the point where like, you could be 19, you're a student, let's say you work at a restaurant, let's say, and you're making $1,200 a month. And you want a Range Rover that's $1,200 a month, they're gonna give you the loan for the Range Rover that's $1,200 a month when you're only making like on a good month you're making $1,200, because you're a student, but they'll still loan it to you. Like they don't care.
They don't,
because they know that it's on you after. It's on your name. They don't care.
Yeah, and the less money you have, the more money they make.
Exactly.
Right?
So it comes back to them.
That's why it's such a system where if you don't take control of what you're doing, life's just gonna walk all over you. Like that's what's gonna happen. We all know the quote, like life is gonna knock you down and it's gonna keep you on your feet if you let it.
Yeah.
You have to stand back up.
Another thing that when we were talking about, let's say, people who like pay attention, let's say who are distracted, right? The way I started thinking of time, starting last January when I actually landed, the job that I wanted to land, and I started taking my life seriously for once. For people who knew me before, I'm sorry. For myself, actually, I'm sorry. But when I started getting things into control, the one way that I thought of it, I said, your time is like interest on a credit card. Mm-hmm. The more time that you spend doing things that are not pertinent to you, and it's kind of like we're talking with Robert last time, the baggage, right?
Yeah.
When you don't take care of things that are bothering you, just think of it, if you want to really get into your head, think of it as interest. All this shit just keeps adding up, and it never ends to the point where you could be buried in it and you don't even realize it until one day it hits you.
Right.
So and it's like your finances. It's the same thing.
That's where people spend the majority of their lives. You know, like I know that I have to get this assignment done, let's say, but I also want to play a game of Warzone.
Yeah.
Or
who doesn't want to play a game of Warzone?
Honestly,
for sure.
But there's all these distractions and all these things like. You know what? Before I go do this, I'm gonna watch a quick YouTube video, or I'm gonna watch one episode of my favorite show.
Yeah, that's the thing is there's no one episode, and there's no quick YouTube video.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because
it just snowballs into like an hour of playing or 2 hours.
Exactly. I mean,
or longer even.
That's their goal. That's the goal of any platform is to keep you on it, right?
For sure.
So, when you think about it, that's basically where your time goes. So there's an app that I used to use that literally I would import how much time I spend playing video games, how much time I would spend doing this, and it makes like a nice graph.
Okay, of like how your
day is, right? And the more I look at this, the more I was like, you know what, I need to change. I need to change this. I need to change that. And I did that until I got to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'm good with what I'm doing. I'm good with my level of consistency. I'm good with, putting my time here for this, my time there for that. And overall, I've been doing a lot better in terms of overall life growth, right? So when you're managing your time, it's about realizing that I can't do the same thing I was doing before I was working.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to be realistic with it. A big problem that people have, and like I'm the number one culprit of this, is like be realistic with what you want and how you're gonna get it. You know, people go through life thinking that things are a certain way. You know, it's like I was talking to my colleague the other day. She had a kid, and I was like, "How is it having a kid?" And she's like, "I always knew it was gonna be hard, but this is something else." You know, and it's kind of like people who. Something that I want to get into is people who like avoid reality in the way, and we all do it, right? Because we don't want to have to go through it sometimes, right?
And you don't accept it.
Yeah,
like life's changing. That sucks.
Life is hard, and the thing is
sometimes I'm sorry to keep
no stress.
But like sometimes it's like, you know, being in the phase of like, okay, I just want to play video games, for example, and I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do anything. When you have the option to stay home and not do anything, you're gonna choose that.
Obviously, it's the easy way out.
But then you're like, you know what, I need to work too. You start working, now you have less time to play video games, and then people are like, oh, but then I don't want to work. And it's that whole like denial of like, your lifestyle is going to change, right? We grow up, we grow out of stuff, we change, and that's what it's supposed to be. But if you're denying the fact that that's going to come, then that's how do you want to live?
There's a lot of people also like, and this is going to be a sad thing to talk about, people pass away. You know, and it's never good. It's never good, and it's hard for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. But there's always gonna be steps taken. You're gonna move out of your parents' house. You're gonna, eventually settle down. Even if you're not married, you still settle down. People don't realize that. This is something that I was fighting with. Like, I'm like, oh, you're never gonna get married, but you still settle down because you still start doing things slower. You know what I mean? You still live a calmer life. And like another thing that like people don't understand is like, no matter how ready you are for anything, you could be the most prepared person in the world. You're never fully ready.
You can't.
And I'll use an example from my life that happened last week. I moved out, right? Mm-hmm. From my parents' house. I moved out, and it's the greatest decision I've ever taken for myself. Thank you.
Really proud.
It's the greatest decision I've ever taken, not only for myself, but just for like anyone who's in my life right now.
It's like, inspiring.
But not only that, but not only that.
It's a big step, right?
And it's made me a better person already. Yeah. It's been a week, you know.
And I guarantee it's gonna do so much more.
No, for sure.
Because it's like you were saying in the beginning. We're all gonna take these steps at some point.
Yeah.
But you started that for our group, I find, because now it's more inspiring. Like we're like, you know what, this is achievable. It's doable. Yeah. And even though we knew that subconsciously, maybe you proved it. You're the living proof that we can do it. So now. You know, within a year, don't be surprised if I get my own.
No, but that's what I'm saying, and people who know me from last year, I've been saying this since I got hired at my job. I was 17 years old. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna move out. Mm-hmm. I never knew when it was gonna happen. I always wanted it to happen. But the thing is, just like my point is like, you know, I'm 19 years old and I moved out, and the thing is like, I got myself a beautiful apartment because I realized that being on a high level. In my eyes, right? Doing something that makes me happy, but buying into something that I like is gonna be the thing that motivates me to do more, to be a better person. Yeah. You know, I don't spend money on things that are not necessary. So if you don't spend money on I don't give a shit about clothing, guys. I don't care about these things that are not necessary. So if in my opinion, you know, obviously I like nice things, but I'm not gonna have them right now. But the one thing I'm going to invest in, say, do with their car. You know, they buy a nice car. I wanted a beautiful place. And I wanted that for me and for the people in my life. The people who eat at my table, I wanted them to eat in a beautiful place with me. So basically, no matter how prepared I was financially or with my parents, discussing things, whatever, I was not prepared for the roller coaster that I had to go through in the past week. Let me tell you, it is expensive, and it's expensive emotionally. That's the one thing that it's, you know what I mean? It's like, and it's at every age it's the same thing, but it's expensive emotionally. The amount of emotion that has gone through me and my parents back and forth, and the discussions and the arguing a lot of it being my fault, by the way, that has happened.
It's all because it's new, right? It's the first time that you're
really
going
hard,
through this process.
Step.
It's the first time that they're thinking, oh wow, like I won't see him as much or whatever.
Yeah. And he's gonna be alone. It's gonna be.
Then there's the dealing with okay, now I have to buy food. I have to buy groceries.
And not only that, I mean, it was like
I need my furniture.
The deposit, the furniture, the the initial shopping of like getting all your
setup, like to start
your whole setup, right? Like all the things that you need just to live, and it's expensive, and it was expensive emotionally for my parents. It's a big thing, and I didn't realize how much of a big thing it was until it happened. And I'm not even done. I mean, like not even everything's finished now. It's been a week, right? So I know I'm gonna get into it in the next 1 or 2 months, and I'm gonna be fully settled. But it's a big thing, and what I was trying to explain to my parents, and I had to explain to myself too, more than anything, is like, this is something that was going to happen regardless, and it's gonna happen to all of us, right?
Yeah.
So what you have to understand is, the earlier you experience it, the faster you grow into it.
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of like a baby. You always hear this all the time. People say, don't swear around a child, because they're gonna start swearing too. Because the younger you are, the faster you pick it up. So a lot of times, like, yes, things are gonna happen in life. People are gonna move out. You're gonna lose people. There are friends that you won't speak to anymore for whatever reason. It's not that they're bad people. It's not that you're a bad person.
I remember having that conversation, and I'm like,
it's part of life.
I remember talking to my brother, and I'm like, these two people, guaranteed, they're gonna be there no matter what. I don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah.
Like when we're younger, it's easy to believe that, right? But as you grow older, you find real permanent friends, let's say. But even then, it's constantly changing, and you have to realize it's as I said, you're the priority, right? So it goes back to self-sufficiency. It goes back to you realizing that, you know what, I need to work on myself. I need to develop myself. I need to be good on my own. I need to be good being me, and that's just gonna make you good with being with others. So when you start working on yourself and you start managing your time to be effective, be productive, caring about what other people think kind of goes out the window. It doesn't matter anymore. There's just no point of thinking about it because
you can't even afford it. You just can't do it. It's impossible.
There's no point.
There's no way
you'll never satisfy everybody.
There's no way you can basically please everybody and have a good life for yourself. Yeah. There's no way it's.
I mean, I know for myself, and I've said this to people. The times where I'm most effective, most efficient in my life, I'm literally making the craziest moves that I've ever done. We should buy money move, but listen. Whenever I'm doing like something crazy, normally my social life takes a hit.
Yeah.
Normally I see my friends.
But you've been noticing this with me.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing.
But that's the thing with everybody,
you
right?
You have to get friends who understand and appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you have to get friends who...
I was about to say exactly that. Like, you guys killed it with that. Like, when I remember in the group chat, I was like, yo, for the next few weeks, I need to work on some stuff.
And we're all like, man, go ahead, take your time, call us, anything you need, man. This is the biggest thing for me, is like...
The support was amazing. I got so many people, like, you guys all texted me, like, yo, if you need anything...
Individually,
Yeah, individually, like, off the group. Because I sent it in the group, and like, some of them wrote it in the group, but a lot of them texted me individually. They're like, do what you gotta do,
hope you're okay, man, take it easy.
Like, don't worry about it. And it's not even like I went long. It was like maybe 3 weeks
max, I think.
Yeah, actually, 3 weeks that I didn't see like the whole group there. And that was just to work on my own thing, deal with what I have to deal with, and do that. But it's the fact that I knew that they support me, because I remember having the fear that if I don't see my friends right now, they're not gonna be my friends anymore. Yeah. It's the end of the world. I'm gonna miss out on whatever. And people do have FOMO, like that's an actual thing where you miss out. You fear missing out. Yeah. But it's not. But I find for myself, it wasn't really the fear of missing out. It was more the fear that if I'm not available, they won't need me anymore.
But that's the crazy thing with our friend group, is like, there have been so many. Listen, just in the past year, the friend group that's developed, there have been so many times where like we really needed each other's support, and it's been so. The only word I could use is so fluent.
Yeah. Like,
it's just been such a flow. Like, yeah, I can't describe, like, you've had things to do with, I've had things to do with. There's been times, I've been in the car with James, and he'll look at me and be like, Matt, I know you're moving out. Or even with Verve or anybody, it's like, if you have problems with money, you let me know. I don't care how much it is.
Yeah.
And like, even if I don't need that help, it's like just the fact that I know that they're there in that way and they don't care about, like, they're able to like put themselves in my shoes.
Yeah.
That means
and
a lot to
then
me.
it goes bigger than that, right? Like birthday gifts. I mean that's one thing alone.
That's the one thing we go hard on, to be honest.
I love
we
it.
go
like,
way hard on that.
Like Damiano, guys, listen, Killer Effects on Spotify, on Apple Music, anywhere.
Best mixes you'll ever hear.
Yeah, literally it's amazing.
The best music. Shout out Damiano.
Listen, when he's a musical genius, I have to keep saying this. This guy is the most talented person.
No, he is.
I have seen when it comes to
incredible.
Music, right?
On any instrument, actually.
So,
like, he's a beast.
When we were getting him for his birthday, we got him an amp.
Yeah, for his guitar.
And when we were getting that, like I went to the store with Steph, and when we were getting it, there's zero thought about anything that came to my mind other than this guy deserves this.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like like this is amazing, and it's been the same way with everybody.
Even like
right?
with the TV that you got me, like I see that I'm moving out. Elon's like, here, I got you a TV. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, that's amazing. Like, you didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so nice of you.
Yeah,
it's like,
but exactly, it's about the fact that our group loves to do things that we don't need to do, but we want to do.
Yeah, we have such a good time doing
it. I find that's what makes it great, right? Yeah. So let's say you're in a situation where you might feel like your friend group isn't necessarily where you want to be, or they're not working towards the same goals as you, and it could be scary. It could be frightening to not talk to them as much or whatever. I'm not saying to cut them off completely. I'm just saying, take the time for yourself. Take the time to work on whatever. Yeah. If you want to start exercising, you don't need somebody to go with you. Go exercise, get it done, then go chill with them right after.
My most efficient workouts are when I'm alone, actually, because I'm just in my own space. I'm doing my own thing.
Of course, whenever I love working out with friends, but whenever I do that, I naturally go slower because we're talking.
Yeah, you're talking, you're joking around, right? So you're not really focusing on what you have to do, you know.
So it's definitely not the same. But I'm just saying in general, like, if you have something to do, go get it done before seeing other people. Yeah. I actually tweeted about this the other day. I tweeted saying, I never understood why people suggested only texting, like, somebody that you're into when you're in a good mood. I was like, that's weird. Talk to them all the time. Doesn't matter.
No. But that's actually just like being fake.
Then I realized though, when you're in a good mood, what puts you in a good mood? When you got shit done. Yeah. Right? I'm like obviously don't only text them if you're in a good, like don't push it off, don't wait, whatever. But I'm saying if you got everything that you need to do done, you're naturally gonna be a happier person. Like, I know on the days where I exercise, I read, I meditate, I do what I actually want to do, because those are, like, I have that, I want to do that every day, and some days I snooze, I don't do it, and it makes me feel awful. Yeah. But the days that I actually do it, I come in happy, I come in ready.
Yeah, I notice it too.
Everybody notices it. Like, literally, it's, when you are on top of your shit, everybody's going to be more attracted to you.
Believe it or not, they'll be more attracted to you. It's like a gravity.
It's an aura.
And then also, they'll respect you more. Yeah. Because you tell them no. Believe it or not, you tell them, look, I can't do that today because I'm busy. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they know that you're busy. And another thing is, like, my favorite quote from Kevin O'Leary ever. Actually, there's two of them. He goes, "Don't waste money on shit. It's bad karma." Bad karma, guys. It comes back to you. And number two, he always said, I remember with the Graham Stephan interview when, shout out to Graham, by the way, love him. New house is beautiful. Anyway, honestly. He goes, he's like, Kevin, like, how do you do work-life balance? And he said, if you want to be successful, if you want to get to where you want to go, there is no work-life balance. And that's it. That is the way it works. We have to stop sugarcoating this shit.
I remember seeing
There's no work-life balance.
It's exactly that.
And my uncle, I love my uncle. He says it best because my uncle works 3 jobs. And I ask him, I'm like, my God, how do you, like, this guy works 3 jobs, doesn't buy himself a coffee, but his wife has the new car, and that's what he likes to do. He likes to give to people. And he goes, it's multiplication. Right. Like, you put in more work, you're going to get more out of it, but there's less balance. It's completely normal. We have to stop saying, oh, let's balance work. I understand you have times to chill and you have times to work.
It's an overall lifestyle, right? So what I find is
if you can build it into your lifestyle,
my video creation, my time of scripting things, like when I make my YouTube videos, it feels like I'm making a movie. I'm fully directing everything, planning out what shots do I want, scripting it. Like my videos take a lot of time because I don't just make random I try to make self-help videos.
That's why we appreciate you guys watching.
If you guys don't know, on the YouTube channel on Mondays and Wednesdays sometimes, I post self-help videos. So it's quick 10-minute videos of my advice.
Yeah.
And it's a full production, right? So if I think that that's me working, it's gonna suck. It's just I'm gonna make.
You put a label on it.
But when it's part of my lifestyle, when I know that every day I'm gonna work on it a little bit, that's how it builds, right? So it's like I'm not putting anything else in jeopardy. I'm not trying to separate it. I'm like, this is my life.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, like work life, it's merged. It's always gonna be one. And
but that's
you have to realize
ask any successful person like how they got there, and the first thing they're gonna tell you is like you have to eat, sleep, and breathe whatever the fuck you're doing. You know what I mean? Like and there's no two ways around it, guys. You're not gonna get anywhere. Just like Mark says, it's pitch partout. You throw all your ideas everywhere. Just focus on whatever it is that you really love to do, and just go all in. And I realize when you go all in, guys, it changes everything. It changes who you are, and it changes your effectiveness. Like you're at your peak efficiency when you're all in, because it's not a job anymore. It's part of your lifestyle. It's what you do.
Yeah.
You get up every day, you do that workout, you make that video, you go to work, and you get the money and you get the job done. And it becomes to the point where it's just completely instinctual at that point. You just keep doing it and doing it, and it's gonna work. You just have to give it a chance. And another thing that I want to talk about, this is a big thing. Anybody who has a chip off their shoulder, okay? People who are hard on themselves. I'm very hard on myself, okay? And I wasn't before, but now I'm very hard on myself. And it's actually problematic sometimes.
Of course.
People take their shit
because a lot of
very far.
A lot of the time, let's say you set unrealistic standards for yourself.
Yeah.
And if you don't meet any of them, if you don't fit any criteria or whatever, you're going to beat yourself up over it. You're going to feel like a failure even though you're succeeding.
You get depressed.
And
you could be going in the right direction, but you have no idea
that
you're going there. Because you're just always thinking about where I should have been. So, another thing I want to talk about, we're not going to beat Mother Nature, guys. Everyone's going to go through the cycle of life from start to finish, okay? And we're all going to make mistakes. So for those of you who are sitting there beating yourself up over mistakes, the mistakes I've made are big, and you guys are going to make mistakes too. It's part 100%. Of who we are, and it's part of life. The only thing is you have to learn from them, right? We always say this in every podcast.
Yeah.
As long as you learn from what happened and you start taking yourself seriously, self-respect, and just taking your life seriously, it's going to go in your direction. So I just want, for those of you out there who are struggling right now with the concept of I'm not where I want to be, it's not over, guys. It's not over. I don't care if you're 90 years old. You can start
at any
right
time.
now.
Like
after this video.
Literally Google it. Literally Google it. So many people only started making their living after 30, after 40, after 50.
There are people who've gotten out of debt.
Grant Cardone. How much would you say he earns per year?
Well, now his net worth is at almost 400 million. I don't know if it's I don't know what he earns per year.
It's probably way higher.
But he started that in his late.
He literally started in his 50s.
Yeah, 55.
When he was like 50 on the dot, he's like, you know what? I'm sick of my job. I'm gonna start working towards something.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, and like if you can do it at 50, why can't anybody else? You know, so. There's really no age limit. You can do it whenever. It's all in your mind. It's all mentality. It's all mindset.
Exactly.
With that being said, I want to summarize quickly.
For sure.
Listen, in terms of your relationship with time, you have to fall in love with this. Okay, your time management super important. Your standards, don't be unrealistic. 5 things max. Make a list of 5 things that you want to get done for the day.
Get them done.
That's it.
Doesn't matter the order. Just get them done.
Even if you get it done in the morning.
Yeah. Get it all done in the morning. Sure.
All 5 things done by like 12.
Good for you.
Good. You won the day.
Yeah.
Spend the rest of the day doing what you love. Yeah. Don't put more than that.
Yeah.
Don't distract yourself with other people's lives, other people's situations, net worth, blah blah blah. Focus on where you want to be. Focus on where you want to go. Don't listen to people that aren't where you want to be. Find the right mentors, read the right books, listen to the right podcasts.
Yeah.
Make progress. That's the whole point of this. And
any moment that you guys that anybody isn't moving forward, we're going backwards. That's the way you got to think of it. It's like I had a teacher who would always say, when I was learning to play music, he's like, it's like a drawing. Imagine you draw one line. The next day, if you don't keep going, it erases itself. You're not going anywhere. So you better make sure that you get everything done. And there's down days and there's all kinds of problems. But at the end of the day,
take it day by day.
And we all have to be good people. That's the priority.
Yes.
That's the priority. Just be real.
Don't avoid.
Be real.
Exactly. Don't avoid the truth. Don't avoid the reality. Deal with your experiences. Use them as part of you. Use them as motivation. Use them as fuel. Use them as energy.
Yeah.
That's what's really going to help you.
Yeah.
With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
This is episode 7 now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
There's some interesting ones coming up.
There's amazing stuff to come. Amazing guests on the show that are going to come too.
Yes.
We're
taking it to a new level. That's what I'm going to say.
And guys, I just want to say I have a crazy feeling that 2021 is going to be a huge year. And let's make it happen. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, share.
If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, I'm really going to ask you guys leave a 5-star review. That is the way to advertise on there.
Thank you.
Spotify, just download and share. YouTube, watch time, like the video, comment, please. Comment anything, even just a smiley face. Enjoy the podcast.
We'll respond to everything, so there's no stress.
That all helps. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Elan and Stefanos, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.